Hello, everyone.
What am I supposed to open up here?
Well,
What's the deal?
okay. Let's yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Grease and
Hey
Old
everybody,
podcast.
welcome to the Grease and Old podcast. With me and Vinny here.
This is
I am
the
your host, and this
yeah,
is my co-host Vinny.
yeah. I'm just my first episode, and I'm just hoping that Mr. Jarrett will treat me with the same respect that all big Hollywood producers treat their actors with.
And if you slip up once, I'm going to be replacing you with anyone else because
Especially women. They treat women with a
you
lot of
are
respect.
extremely disposable.
Well, I mean, I've only been in like
I
one
wouldn't
episode,
lose a
so.
single wink of sleep, so you better not slip this up.
Hey everyone, how's it going, guys? I'm sure that really fucked up the microphone. Okay. This is Vinnie Smith here. I don't know actually. I
This
don't actually know the order that these episodes are coming out. We're kind of doing them out of order. So this is either the second or third episode of Grease and
This is
Oil
the best
guest
one,
stars.
folks. This is gonna
Well,
be the
yeah.
best one. So if you
The
don't watch any of them,
order
just
the
watch this
order
one.
doesn't
'Cause I'm
matter.
here.
The order of the episodes doesn't matter. It's the fact that the talent is really hearkened and just sort of it's really centered on
Me.
this little boy we have today on the episode. His name is Flying Pringle. That's what it says on his birth certificate. Jacob, for those of you in the audience who don't know who my guest star is, what do you do, Mister Jacob?
I
What
make
what are you
memes on
known
Twitter.
for? What are you known for?
I'm I'm known for being one of the headrunners of the most fantastic, educational, informative, and comedic accounts, Birdie memes.
Oh,
I was one of the main editors on that. I did a lot of the photoshops, but I don't mean to beat my own horn.
beat your own meat here. Yeah, let's not do that. It's my job.
Come on.
All right. So he does. He's an artist. Um, he does some things that are voice crack. He does some things that are pretty interesting. He's pretty. I think one of the greatest things you've ever done in my recent recollections
Oh,
would probably be the I don't know. I think it was just the storyboard version of the Mr. Conductor phone call.
yes,
That was
the Alec Baldwin.
absolutely brilliant. To see any of the memes that we will most likely be referring to, go make sure to go to Twitter. Check out at Flying Pringle. He's a really talented guy. Big user, over a million subs. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
5 million on Twitter, never done before.
You're about to
No,
surpass.
but
You're about to surpass PewDiePie in terms of a following. I think.
PewDiePie is next.
Yeah, PewDiePie.
No,
You're about to collab.
but yeah, I do art. I draw. I did do a big storyboard of our good friend, our good pal, Mr. Conductor. Not Mr. Conductor fan. I mean Alec Baldwin from the 2000 smashing hit, uh, Thomas Magic Road,
Yeah.
where it's the phone call where he's talking to his daughter. It's really good. It's fun
Well,
for the whole family.
you don't need to go through the whole thing, but like
Bring have your grandma sit down next to you when you're watching it. I'm sure she'll get a kick out of it.
I remember when I first discovered YouTube, it was probably 2006, 2007, pretty early on in the history of the site. And of course, when you're a little kid, you search up what you're interested in. The first thing I searched was Thomas the Tank Engine, and then I was super into Wally a little later on. So all I watched was Wally related videos in like
Dude,
2008.
me too. Dude, Wally's my freaking bread and butter.
And followed the official Wally YouTube account, which had I think it had probably 20 or 30,000 subscribers, which was really big in like 2008. Um,
And the movie only came out in 2007, so I mean
no,
that's just 1 year.
bruh, it was 2008. Let's be real.
Wally came
Okay.
out in 2008?
Ratatouille was 2007.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but I remember one of the first videos I watched, as many people did, was Thomas blows his stack.
That's a classic.
It's a classic. We'll put links to Jacob's meme and his Twitter account
Thomas
and on all the stuff that we'll be talking about. I will link in the description below for those younger viewers who didn't grow up all those decades ago, like Jacob and I
also
did.
Thomas the Bad Engine #1. That's also a
Oh,
classic.
well, yeah, no, but I remember showing you're talking about grandma, show your grandma this straighten your ass out video. And I actually showed my grandmother Thomas Blows His Stack as a 6-year-old child. And her reaction to it still sticks in my mind whenever I see some kind of Thomas video that really goes over the line. And her only reaction that I can remember was showing her, and when Thomas comes back after getting sort of redone and getting his mind sort of melded with Diesel 10, he shoots her Topham hat and he says, "Shut it, fatty!" And he shoots him up. And I can still remember the exact inflictions and the exact everything that my grandma said. She's just, "There are no guns in Thomas. This is ridiculous. This is horrendous. I said no guns in Thomas." And she made me turn it off. And then the two specific memories I have that are like that, my grandma, and then one time my older cousin was babysitting me, and I was, again, this is probably a year later after the grandma incident. I was watching Sir Topham Hatt's Unlucky Week, which was a Miss Oliver and Blossom produced short, in which they're dropping F-bombs left and right, and they're making fun of entertainment, and they probably made some Jew jokes or something. And my cousin, who is a stand-up comedian, who says, I listen to her stuff sometimes, it's really funny. It's super dirty shit. It's about like blowjobs and stuff. It's really funny, but it's like very dirty. I just find it so funny looking back that she's the one you're listening. Oh my god, turn this off. This is so vulgar. Blah blah blah.
She was looking out like what? You were like what? 4 years old?
Yeah, I was 4 years old in 2009. You're hearing it first. Definitely.
Yep.
I'm 4 years old now, bro.
I'm 8. Like, you said that to me when we met up. He was like, oh, Jacob's 8.
Jacob, okay, you're what, like 6 months younger than me? Probably.
Really?
I was born in June of 2001. When were you born?
I was born in May of 2002.
Oh, okay, so you're a little young. So okay, almost a year. Year.
No. The joke is like when I met up with Wiley, everyone thinks I'm like Wiley's age. Everyone thinks I'm like
Wiley.
17.
See, I didn't think Wiley's like what? He's like 20 or something.
He's 19. No, and
Wiley's
everyone was like
19. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone thinks I'm 17 for some reason. Like whenever it's like oh,
because you're fucking tall. That's why you're a really tall dude.
God, Jacob, I didn't know you were that young. Well, I mean.
Well, yeah. Age is just a number, so. I mean, yeah.
Someone at my school was like, "You should grow out your beard, and then you'll be able to do like illegal stuff." And I was like, "Sure thing."
Would you actually be able to grow out a beard? Because you got sideburns for days, but like a beard, you think you could
definitely.
do that?
No, I just like to look nice, so I shave all the time.
Huh. Impressive. Very impressive. That's puberty for you. So, what were we talking about before that was
before you went on your tangent about scarring your grandma for life with Thomas the Bad Engine.
I mean, before we started talking about before we started recording, we were talking about something, and then I said, "Wait, we should wait for the recording." What was that? It was like
because Vinnie here was a complete fool, missed his chance to go to the freaking San Francisco, like what is it, like the Thomas display, which it was season 8.
It was
season 8 Thomas model.
It wasn't even in San Francisco. It was in San Jose.
It was like an hour away.
That's an hour. It's an hour south of my house.
Yeah, you could have easily done like the season 8 brass Thomas model, which might have been the one from Magic Road. They made about 3 of them, so it's difficult to tell. And Emily was there, which.
Well, because wait. So there's the model that they're touring around. Then there's the model in Ohio or wherever the like there was like one in Ohio and like Indiana and that kind of area, I think.
That's the same one because Emily was there.
Are you sure? Because Turtles saw it like at the same time that you were here, and we were confused because we thought the Turtles had come to California. So like
in October it had moved. When I was there,
Oh,
when
okay.
I was there first in like June or whatever, or July, it was in San Jose. It's a
Okay.
touring exhibit because now it
Right.
is
Okay.
in. I think now it's in like New Jersey. It might. I don't know. That might be the Thomas and Diesel one because they have two exhibits going around
That's
at the
what
same time.
that's what I was talking about. The Thomas and Diesel one. Yeah. So
The
that's
Thomas and
that's a different Thomas model.
it's a different Thomas model, but it is.
So there are three Thomas models. Are they they're all going around. You got two in Japan and or one in Japan and two in the U.S. So are they all brass models, or is there
They are all brass.
there's not a
There's
plastic one?
none of them are the plastic ones. If any of them were the plastic models, you could probably bet that I would have stolen them.
Well, yeah.
Because no, I'm just saying if the one on display in California was the plastic one, I would probably go in and come out with a duffel bag. So
I
yeah,
wonder what would happen if you walked into that little children's museum that held the brass model. If you walked in there with like a hammer and just broke the glass, do you think they would actually have like an alarm system that would just
I'm sure they would shoot me
immediately?
on sight.
No, but
I'm
like,
sure they would shoot me on sight.
do you think if hypothetically speaking, if you actually had broken the glass, would it have actually gone woo woo like immediately?
No,
Because
there's nothing
that would have
hooked up
been
to
some
that.
pretty high tech
There is
equipment.
nothing hooked up to that Thomas model. There's nothing. It's just a plastic case. It's just a. It's not even glass. I think it's. I'm 90% sure it's plastic.
Sweet. Okay.
If I could just get that off and get if I could just replace it with a Backman without anyone seeing, then it wouldn't make a difference. Like
A
they don't
bat.
care.
Oh,
No,
you say a backman.
a Backman,
It's not how you say that,
like a
Jacob.
Bachman, whatever. Like
Bach.
no one would know the difference because kids don't even know what that thing is. Like I don't even know why they bothered putting the model on display. Like when I went there, me and my mom were the only person who knew what the hell that thing was. Like
Well, yeah, because you read any Amazon reviews of anything before Hero of the Rails, and it's like it's
oh,
like a review.
plastic
It's a
Thomas models.
review.
Oh,
It's a
the
review
claymation
of
Thomas is scary.
yeah. It's a review of like the Great Discovery on Amazon, and it's like, well, my children have only grown up with the cartoon Thomas, and they watched the claymation Thomas, and it really disturbed them because the lips weren't moving, which automatically means it's Satan and sin and terror, and it's like, oh,
Satan
really?
himself.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that the classic series is Satan, and Misty Island Rescue. That's just like
A
normal,
nice, charming
pure.
movie where the mouths move and the eyes blink. It's not very
I
scary.
just
It's
I
very
love how
good
that's
for
the
your
only
kid. Buy it on
thing.
Amazon.
That's like the only thing that like pop culture knows about Thomas the Tank Engine. It's that old kids show where the mouths didn't move. That's the
Yep.
only thing that if you ever ask anyone who's not who's maybe even if their kids like didn't grow up with Thomas the Tank Engine, it's that kids show where like the eyes didn't blink, right? That's fucking weird, bro. And
That's
it's
the
like,
kid show
yeah.
where the eyes don't move,
But
right?
it's like such a specific fact. It's not the it's such a specific element of the show that only people who aren't interested in the show point out. No one who's a Thomas fan ever like watches season 3 and goes, yeah, so if you notice here, their faces are completely stagnant. Like it's just nothing that we think about unless other people bring it up, and that's creepy.
That's just the charm of the show. That's just the way it is.
And
Like,
it's sure it's the fact that we grew up with it and we've succumbed to the
because we have
normalities
a
of
connection
it.
to it, and other people don't. But like
Yeah,
the
but
sets,
it's
everything
still
else.
weird that they're the only ones that ever pointed out, and it's clearly like I said, it's kind of we've succumbed to the normalities of it, but it's just
Yeah,
confusing to me because it's just like, well, if we're fine with it, then it's clearly not that. And there's that whole thing that I
but
parodied in the Halloween special with the whole, they look at the sad story of Henry and immediately go, he was locked up and he was murdered
no,
and
yeah, yeah.
he
I
was
saw
he was
something where it's
Henry
like,
was
oh,
put in bondage and died.
yeah, Henry was sealed up in a tunnel for the rest of his life, where he then died. Even
Ugh.
though, and and someone pointed out like, oh, Henry gets let out, and they're like, well, Henry gets let out, but the kid wouldn't know that because they have to wait till next Friday to get the next episode. No, the episode where Henry comes out of the tunnel was aired back to back,
The
where we put
same
in.
fucking
He's
thing, and both
he's
in the UK
no, shut
and
up.
on Shining Time Station.
He's sealed into the tunnel, and 5 minutes of advertisements later, he comes out.
Yeah.
and maybe not even that. Maybe just the 30 seconds of end credits. They might have just been back to back. Like
No, I think
it comes out
I'm
immediately.
I'm pretty sure that's how they aired it in the UK. I don't think they had a commercial break.
Right, and people are like, yeah. If you watch the one episode and don't watch the other one, yeah, like he's in the tunnel. So what? He's being an asshole, and he got what he deserved.
See, that's the thing that always really pisses me off about all these articles talking about how and they've been doing this is not a new thing. People have been writing
Yeah,
articles about how fucked up Thomas the Tank Engine is for 10, 15 years, but it's the fact that all of these parents, or sometimes they're comedians, and if it's a comedy thing, then yeah, of course they think it's being ridiculous. But
it's
there's other
always
people.
the sad story of Henry.
It's always the sad story of Henry because that's the only one that people really remember. But it's like they always point out the most. It's like it's a sick, perverted, like perverted perversion.
They
Not a good word for
completely
it.
gloss
A
over the
perversion
fact that
of nature and whatever. But it's the whole
yeah,
thing is that they always pick apart the fascist regime, the secret underbelly morals that are being projected to these
no,
poor innocent
that's the
children.
joke. That's the joke. Like they pick out the punishments. Like, oh, Henry was punished. He was sealed in a tunnel for life.
the,
Like
no, but
very
the thing
very
is,
bad
the
fascist
thing
show.
is,
But no, the joke is take hold. The joke is that like Henry's in the tunnel because he's being a shithead. He's being an asshole. Like that's why. Like,
but that's
it's
the
not
thing.
because everyone they always gloss over that. They always just ignore that. They're just like, oh,
It's no,
Henry,
but
this
it,
poor
it's
innocent
not,
train
it's not
sealed
just
for
a,
life.
It's not just a misinterpretation. It's a complete lack of understanding of
Not even
how.
lack of understanding. They just skipped over it.
No, no,
It's
no, no,
the,
no, no. Listen,
that's
listen,
the
listen,
main
listen to
plot
me.
point of the
Jacob,
episode.
Jacob, listen. The entire series, the entire existence of the series, of the railway series, of the TV series, of the films, whatever, they all exist under the notion, under the guise of a metaphor. It's all metaphorical because, like, for example, Gordon was named after an asshole kid on Audrey's block who used to make fun of Chris. So, little Chris Audrey. So little Willie Audrey decided to look at this guy and he's like, yeah, I need a name for my asshole character. I'm gonna name him after this little asshole kid on my street. It's all a metaphor for a schoolyard or a family where Sir Topham Hatt is the authoritarian because he needs to be the adult, the teacher, the parent, the person that the little kids, the engines, look up to. That's the whole point of the metaphor. And when you go into the sad story of Henry, the people who overanalyze it and make it this completely perverted guise of what it once was.
That's the
They're
problem.
missing the point entirely because it's not a metaphor for bondage or slavery. It's a metaphor for a kid getting sent to his room on a timeout. That's not.
That's yeah. When they overanalyze
they completely miss the point because it's so clearly not. Wow, this kid, this is a sick one where they're teaching parents that it's okay to lock your child
Vinny,
in a sex dungeon. He's just
Vinny,
put on
that's
timeout,
exactly
dude.
the problem. That's exactly the problem is that they take it directly, and they blow it out of proportion. Like
Yeah.
when really you're not supposed to look that deep into it. You're not supposed to overanalyze it and look at it directly. It's supposed to be like it is a metaphor. It doesn't mean that like we support like locking people in tunnels or we support like sealing people for life like
None
Edgar
of it
Allan
is
Poe.
literal. None of it is literal, and the fact is
None of it's literal.
Audrey was so it's all parody. You look at the content, you read not even the episode, but you look at the story, the actual children's book of the sad story of Henry, which is, by the way, in the original version, is completely cut off from the Sudrian narrative because you had two stories that were Edward and Gordon and Edward and whatever, Edward's Day Out and Edward and Gordon, and they had their own little arc. It was a little 2-part arc. And then completely separate to that was this other story about this other railway, which this other train Henry worked on, and this other guy, this the fat director.
Right.
It was all completely separate. And then the publisher, because they're all stories written on little notes, little tissues, little napkins. And his wife was like, "Hey, you should actually, these are not bad stories. You should write these down. Maybe look for a publisher." And the publisher said, "I'll publish them if you can combine them into one universe. And he's like, okay, so I'll write a story. I'll write the big crossover episode of the series where Henry and Gordon actually meet, where Gordon and Edward meet Henry. And it was like a big thing where it's like, oh shit, they do take place on the same railway because we didn't know that.
Right.
But the
That
whole
could
point
be
is that the original story is it's all parody. It's all joking about the norms of society because
when it was written
because
originally.
because in the original story Audrey spends the entire story making fun of the upper class. He just, oh, my doctor's forbidden me to pull, my doctor's forbidden me to push. He's making fun of these bureaucrats, these capitalists that are just, oh, blah, 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 I'm too important to do this, make the working class push the train out of the tunnel, I'm too important, I have too much money for this, and blah, blah. It's all a parody of society, and it's all a parody of capitalism, and these little kids who they're little shitheads, so they get sent to their room. It's not, hey, here's my kid, I'm going to lock him in a dungeon and I'm going to actually build a literal brick wall. These are things that you have to do when your metaphor is focused on a locomotive and the locomotive's director, which are not things to be directly applied to in a parent-child situation, which is why the sad story of Henry is not some fucked up sex orgy whatever thing. I don't even know what the hell they were doing. Whatever they thought that this strange metaphor was, I don't
Going on a
know.
tangent, buddy.
I don't know, but it's weird, and that's what I wanted to kind of express with the Halloween special that I did, was the fact that everyone was blowing it out of proportion, and it simply made no sense.
And they give Henry the death sentence.
They give Henry the death sentence because it's this cute little, very clever children's story that people have completely blown out of proportion.
I liked that when he's like the guy in the back was like, fuck him up.
Fuck him up, and it's just the little scene ends with him saying the opening lines in a very, once an engine attached to a train was afraid of a few drops of rain, and everyone just,
that was funny.
it's the whole point of that scene was that everyone is yelling and shouting and being so much louder than the soft, subtle little poem that was meant to be just a little. Come on.
Let's be real. It's a kid's book. It's not supposed to be overly.
It's a kid's book. It's not 50 Shades of Grey. Calm down with your weird bondage shit. Jesus.
Anyways, we were talking about something else before. We were talking about like the Brass Thomas model, right?
Well, as you could talk about that. I don't know. I wanted to talk about that Henry thing because it was something that happened in the news 2 to 3 months ago. It was kind of a big fad that I never really directly addressed it, and I just kind of wanted to.
You must be. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you must have been really pent up over that, because like I kind of feel the same way. Like, yeah, like, every time anyone ever talks about it, but
it's ridiculous.
Whatever. Anyways, so yeah, there's the one Thomas display with Diesel. That's the season 2 Diesel, by the way. That's not some. They only ever had 3 Class 08 models. They had one for Splatter and Dodge and Arian Burt, each like. Those are the same engines.
Yeah.
Like, Arian Burt were repainted in the Splatter and Dodge and Magic Road and then painted back. Like, they never had like 3 sets of models. Like, they didn't have old Arian Burt, Splodge, and new Arian Burt. They're all the same.
Because there was the rumor for a while that the Splatter and Dodge models never got shipped back to Shepperton from Toronto.
Yeah, that's a lie.
So they just the same
either
Arian Burt models that went all the way to season 12 are the original season 5 ones. Is what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And I think someone was like, "Oh, like, what is it?" Someone said like, "Oh, like a SIF interview said something." Well, they might have just got it wrong, like, because it's obviously not different. No, and you can watch Calling All Engines. Like, you can see, like, there's like chips of paint on Arian Burt, and they're purple underneath. Like, they're still.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
No,
I've never seen
a whole post about this.
I
made
did.
a whole
I don't.
post about
Well,
this.
I'm sorry. I don't constantly look at your Twitter feed, Jacob. I'm so sorry.
But yeah, no, they have purple paint chips and like underneath. So
that's pretty neat. I've never noticed that, because the only thing that I've ever noticed is I think it was Jaden.
The pinstriping.
Well, yeah, but Jaden, Jaden Magical, he's a great guy, animator for the TCC, he's a good guy. He sent me an HD copy, I think it was around a year and a half ago, and I thought it was really cool. He sent me an HD 1080p copy of Magic Railroad, which I believe was ripped from the iTunes download. And it was just weird because, Thomas the Magic Railroad has not had the best history with transfers, because you got the VHS copy, which is just a 4x3 tape, and it's like just VHS tape, whatever. And then the DVD is also incredibly shitty quality. So I'm watching the 1080p restored footage, left so much to be not to be desired, but it left so much of an impression on me. You're just noticing all these little things you never saw before, because majority of people that have seen Magic Railroad, other than the kids who saw it on the big screen in July 2000, they grew up with this kind of shitty DVD that you just don't remember it was shitty because you're a little kid and you don't really notice quality. But watching the actual the restored footage, Splatter and Dodge's models have, even before like they went through the big whatever they were doing with the big shoot, just like in the first scene they appear, the very first scene they appear on screen with the Dieselton Mountain and all that stuff, their models are chipped up like hell. They look like a wooden railway model that has the edges worn and you can see the wood coming through, and their eyebrows look like they were drawn on with Sharpies. Like, just, they're like really poorly done Splatter and Dodge eyebrows that in the first
eyebrows
scene
didn't look that bad.
I was talking with either Wiley or Lucas, the train modeler. I was talking with him on Skype, and like it was just, we were looking at it and it was so fascinating because you can just see in the restored footage how hastily and because they didn't have a budget. They had a very low budget for the model sequences because the entire film had a budget of around $19 million. And
I thought they had a high budget. I thought they had a high budget for the models. That's why they went to Canada.
No, they did not. You realize they went to Toronto because the government will pay you to make movies, right?
Oh, that makes sense.
The government has.
That's why they sent everything to Canada. Okay.
No, they sent everything
I knew it was
to Canada.
Like
they sent everything to Canada because of the government's film. Rob Wooden Railway Reviews told me about it a while ago. I forget exactly how he put it, but basically, the government will basically charge you nothing to shoot there, which is why all the green screen stuff and the models and the sets and all the stuff with Lily in the big city and the train station and whatever, that's all in fucking Toronto. So
I thought Lily was in New York for some reason.
Lily was not. No, Lily was shot. The scene with the mom, that's all in Toronto. So
okay.
Yeah, so the government will charge you nothing in terms of taxes for that. So
right, you can obviously tell that Splatter and Dodge, like, they were
Splatter
just
and Dodge were
were
very poorly and very quickly repainted, because you look at the original sketches and the ideas that the people had designed for these characters. They had different. Splatter and Dodge were going to be different bases. Like, they were going to be different from one another and look different. And then they just ran out of time and money and said, yeah, we'll just, what are these two diesels from this other TV show, the Thomas TV show. We'll just repaint them. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, just repaint Arian Burt with a paintbrush.
Yeah, and it's fine. And
it didn't look cheap. It just looked like they chose to paint him with paintbrushes instead of like spray painting him.
But if you're looking at the high definition footage of the film, their edges are worn and their eyebrows are all squiggly, and it's very clearly hastily put together because the model aspect of the film was probably the laziest of all. They look really good, the sets and everything, but you got to understand, they look really good because they needed to, because they were so not, they had no, you got to understand, they had no time to shoot the model footage. They had half of the crew. They didn't even bring all the people from Shepperton over. They brought over some crew, and a lot of the crew they had were just random dudes from Toronto. They said, hey, we're making choo-choos. Help, please. And Britt was constantly rewriting the script, because constantly changing, constantly giving them new stuff to film, new things. Because like P.T. Boomer in the latest draft of the script that they have public, which is I think August 19th or something. It's like BT Boomer is still inside Thomas's cab while he's on Sodor, and then Pinchy reaches out and pulls PT Boomer by the head out of his cab and plops him on his back, as opposed to him flying out of the buffers on his own. So all these different things are being rewritten and they're in the middle of shooting scenes when they get faxes from Britt Allcroft saying, "Hey, everything you did today, we can't use it. I rewrote all of it. Fuck you." And
That's
it's like,
why there's only like 5 minutes of model footage.
no, there's literally, that's the thing, is the script. The original running time for the film would have been over 2 hours, and reading the script, every model scene that is in the final cut of the film, the theatrical cut, is in the director's cut. But the director's cut, I was talking with Enterprising about this 1 week ago. And he was really excited to see the director's cut of Magic Railroad because he wanted to see all the George stuff and the Cranky stuff. And they didn't shoot any of that because they forgot to ship George's model over after Britt wrote him into the script. And they just said, "Oh, well, fuck it. With George, we don't need George's steamroller. It's
They
fine,
forgot
whatever."
to ship George's model. I don't.
They shipped everything over to Toronto. They shipped the
They
tramp
did. They shipped
steamer.
everything.
They
That means
shipped
George was
the tramp steamer over from Cranky Bugs, and all the season 4 narrow gauge engines. They had everyone except
That's why
for
the tramp
fucking
steamer never
George.
returned, because the tramp steamer got like destroyed.
Except for George, for some fucking reason, and they
Where did
had
you hear
all
that?
these models.
How do they not have George?
Because, dude, all this stuff is on the SIF mini site. They have all these interviews with all the cast members and crew members and producers and all these people.
So one of them, like, they confirmed like that George didn't go over.
George was never shipped to the UK, and if he was, he was never taken, or he was never shipped to Toronto, and if he was never taken out of storage. Cranky was on set the whole time, but they cut his lines out because they didn't think it was necessary. It's the same.
Yep, you can see
the
Cranky at Knapford.
Yeah, it's the same bullshit excuse they had with Edward, which is very true because if they added Edward into those scenes, he wouldn't have added anything. But neither did Birdie or Gordon or Henry or the Troublesome Trucks or Butch or the Horrid Lorries, which are all in Magic Railroad. So there's no reason they couldn't have just had Edward shunting in the background of 3 scenes or whatever, because there are only like 3 scenes in which the engines speak. Toby has a total probably of 7 lines in the film, most likely 7 or 8.
I very
nothing
much
to do.
like that. There's only a few engines. Like I like it's very simple. Like you can't just introduce, to American, like, let's say like there's people that haven't ever seen what Thomas is. Like each character gets their own little introduction. Like Thomas gets his introduction.
Really?
James.
Everyone gets it. What's Percy's introduction?
Percy gets a little introduction.
Percy shows up asking what engine, what legend. That's his introduction. He has
After
no
that, right?
fucking
Doesn't
introduction.
He have like, he's like, I'm brave, right? I don't know. But
That's
they
not an
established-
introduction. That's how
They
he
no, they
leaves
established
the film.
that he's like the worried engine, right?
Well, yeah, but but you gotta understand, all of these characters have very basic roles that need to be filled, but each one of them, other than Thomas and Percy, has a good amount of lines, but like Gordon and Toby and Henry have like less than 10 lines.
What, are they
each.
just gonna make a Thomas movie without Gordon?
Are they just gonna make a Thomas movie without Edward? Yeah, they did that. It was equal. It's Jacob.
Edward
the argument is equally ridiculous.
Edward is Blue Toby. Come on, Edward is just Blue Toby.
Edward is entirely Blue Toby, but that doesn't mean that he's not an integral part of the main cast. Nonetheless, I agree with you.
I don't know. I like
role.
that. I like that they only had a few engines. Like they didn't need Duck. They didn't need to have. Like,
No. I'm not saying that they should have had Duck, but Edward is part of the main 7, and regardless of if he added anything, he should have been there because Henry didn't add anything, and Birdie didn't add anything. The Horrid Lorries in the background didn't add anything, but they were there on set, so who cares?
All right, but getting back to the point, basically, yeah, they only had. They weren't going to build new models for Splatter and Dodge. They just used Arian Burt, and then in season 6 they just turned him back into Arian Burt, and that was that. So
That's pretty cool, though. I didn't know about the whole.
we need to
seeing
stop going
purple
on tangents.
Dude, that's no. It doesn't. The whole point, we got to stretch this shit out because we don't have. The whole point of these episodes that are unscripted that we do on this podcast is the fact that we go on tangents, because you'd be surprised how many people are interested. I didn't think many people were interested in what the fuck we're saying. soon as we stop releasing episodes, people are like, wait, what'd you do? Come back. We liked it. It's like, oh shit.
Really?
People
Listen to
dude,
this?
People listen to this and they're like anticipating this to come out every Wednesday. It's a legit thing. And that's why we still keep making them. If no one listened to them, we wouldn't make any more. But people like them. So people like listening to our tangents.
Huh. Well, anyways, I was getting to like, yeah, they only had one model of Diesel. They only had one model of Airy. They only had one model of Bert. They had 3 Class 08s throughout the entire span of the show. But
and then the CGI series, they have like 12.
Because they can just retexture easily. But anyways,
copy paste.
But yeah, the diesel on display with the Thomas is. I've done research on the Thomas model, but the Arian Burt, or sorry, the the diesel with Thomas is just the season 2 diesel. Like that's it. That's like the 1986 diesel. That's the same one. Like they didn't ever make a new one.
Yeah.
So the diesel on display is original. The Thomas on display, I've seen people say that it's a fake copy, or like it's a resin copy. I guess, and there's a reason for this, and there's
like a resin copy that they sent to Japan with Lady. The resin
that one looks different though. The resin, quote unquote resin copy that is with Diesel isn't actually resin. That's just, and I have evidence to back this up. That's just the season 12 Thomas model with the face tracker. That's why the eyes look wrong. Like the eyes,
dude. They shipped that over in 2000. That's not season 12. Japan has had that model.
No, you don't. It's not that one.
Brit shipped that one over in 2000 for promotion of the film.
You freaking moron. That's not what I was talking about. I meant the one on display with Diesel.
The
Thomas with Diesel that like.
Oh, with the little googly eyes, yeah.
If you look at that, like the eyes look weird on that. That's just because, like, if you look at the paint, like it looks really pristine. It looks really neon. Like. I've compared like that's just the season 12 model.
Why would they even make a different Thomas model for season 12? That was
at the end of the show, because they made like 2 new Thomases for season 10.
That's fucking weird.
They made at the end of the show they probably had like 5 Thomases, like including the plastic one. They probably had like 5 or 6, but yeah,
and the plastic one last time they used that was Thomas Set Sail, I think.
Thomas Set Sail was the last time that the plastic model was on screen, yes.
That's weird.
And you can tell because it looks really warped and like the funnel's like really like fat. But anyways, it's definitely it. So there's a really good chance that model is still around. I'm sure it's in storage somewhere. But anyways, the Thomas on display with Diesel is the season 12 model, and you can tell because they just ripped out the iMech and put like the face tracker. So when they said, "Hey, we need to put a model on display," it's like, well, it has no eyes, and they said just like improvise, just make your own eyes. So that's why it looks weird. That's why. This is also why Percy in Japan looks weird because like his eyes are like too close to his face. They just said screw it and they just did their own, and that's why Donald and Douglas in Japan also look weird because they had CGI faces in season 12. They just pulled the IMAX out.
Pretty. I mean, because that's the thing. They also that's Hit Entertainment for some reason really funded the episodes oddly. I don't like. Was it really necessary to spend all that money and all that time to make 2 different Hank models? Was that necessary? Did you need to spend that money to make 2 different...
On the last season of the show, they made 2 models of Hank.
On the last season, where they knew the next season would be entirely computer animated. And when they were shooting that in 2007, they knew it because they knew they were not doing another season of the face tracking of season 12, the nitrogen
Didn't one of them... Because I know that in some shots, Hank has a model face. Isn't one of them like one's for the iMech and the other one's like one's for the face tracker?
You wouldn't need to do 2 of that because they just removed the face. You don't need to make an entire different fucking model for that.
I mean, it would be tedious. It would be tedious, Vinny, to put the iMech back in every few scenes because they're too lazy to have it CGI all the time. But anyways, but yeah, the Thomas with Diesel isn't fake. Like, it looks. Excuse me. Whoa. It looks odd, but it's just the season 12 model. The other one, the one with Emily is just a season 8 model. That's uh, actually that's tough because really it's hard to tell. They could be the Magic Road model. It really could be.
Yeah, I guess.
It could be Magic Road. It could be season 10, but it's just your normal brass one. Sadly, it's not the plastic one. So there are two. How did two brass Thomas models out of like 4 or 5 end up in America?
I don't have an answer for you. I don't know.
That's why. And the joke is like they also have like another one at Drayton Manor, which is like destroyed.
Yeah, they're. Oh, oh shit! They've got 4 of them. Yeah, there's 4 of
there's
them.
one in Japan, there's 2 in America, and there's one at Dayton Manor.
Jesus.
So, and ironically, the ones in the best conditions are the one that aren't in the freaking home country, England. Like, whoa.
So, I think it was you that was when you came over here in October. We were having a conversation about it, and you got really, really vocal and very angry about. I'm pretty sure it was you. You got very angry when I suggested the fact that Ark took the Harvey model from Drayton Manor.
They did not.
Here you go. Tell
They
them
did
why.
not take the freaking Harvey model. No, they had reference photos for that. They could just make that in CGI in like 2 minutes. They didn't need the model for that.
I told you. Here he goes.
Hey. Let's see. Do you know where the freaking Harvey from Drayton Manor model went? You know where that went? That went in the fucking dumpster. That went in the garbage. That got destroyed.
Destroyed.
That model was obliterated.
Like hurt. Yeah, destroy.
Harvey. You mean like hurt? Yeah, destroyed. No. Let's be real. Harvey is ruined.
There's one small problem there, boss. Yeah, Mr. Jarrett's coming, and he won't let you destroy models. No, he won't let you destroy models.
I forget what line comes after that.
I can do whatever I want. I'll get Harvey,
I can do whatever I want. But no, come on.
I'll get him, too, with Harvey's little scooper thing from that one episode.
I'll get him, too, with
where
Harvey's
where he cleans up Thomas's coal. In,
yeah.
season
Remember
9.
when Harvey had, like, the big, like, Diesel 10, like, pinchy claw? Like, whoa.
That was really funny.
That was jarring, but no, like, let's be real. Let's be real here. Like, they didn't send the battered and tattered, like, destroyed and blown up looking Harvey model to Ark to render, or else the season 17 Harvey would look like he had been rotting in, like, he'd look like his paint was coming off and, like, everything we busted up. Let's be real.
Because the Harvey season 17 Ark model is pretty damn accurate.
It looks really good. Like,
it's actually because they've had issues. They've had some really terrible issues with transferring episodes
like
from the
Duck.
model series. Duck and Oliver and Duncan are all examples of
but
when
let's
they
be real.
didn't
If
have
they
a
really
reference
used
model.
the Drayton Manor model,
Harvey's
would it
pretty
look that
fucking
good?
accurate.
Would it look that good if they used the Drayton Manor model?
Oh
reference?
shit! Wait. Does Nitrogen still have all those models?
No.
Oh, okay. Because they had like Duck and Cranky.
No.
And all those ones.
I wish Ark would have, Nitrogen would have made Harvey. Like, that would have looked pretty good. But let's be real. The Ark Harvey looks too good to be rendered from that destroyed Drayton Manor model.
Well, because they had all these displays with like Spencer and Rocky and Stanley. Where did all those ones go?
Back into storage, it hit somewhere, I guess.
Huh.
I don't know. That's tough.
I'm pretty sure that's where Harvey. Because it wasn't just like a couple. Like they had Spencer and Duck and Murdoch and all these things.
They had Stanley there. They had like the express coaches.
Henry
they had like the buildings. They had Henry,
Edward, and
I don't know where all that is.
And all that shit.
Because I know that Nitrogen doesn't have it. Like, I think someone said like, oh, they went back to like the storage. So
yeah, whatever happens, there's fucking nothing that's jam filled. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Because what was it? Jam filled was just like easier alternative than getting Nitrogen.
Jam filled has a bunch of Trackmaster models on their desks. Did we see?
I'm sure. Maybe they based.
No, did you see that? Did you see that post though?
Yeah, they have like Diesel 10 and James there.
They had like Skarloey covered in streamers from that season 12 episode. Like it was like thrift store Trackmaster items. It was really.
I wonder if they based the frickin' Duncan off the Trackmaster one. It makes sense that they didn't base him off a model.
Honestly, I mean, because that's the reason that it was so jarring. It's not just the fact that the season 18 Duncan model looks not great, but it's the fact that the season 18 Duncan model looks so bad compared to all of the nitrogen models of the Skarloey engines, which are all based off of the Tally Clinton engine, Tally Flynn, however you say it, engines. They're all so accurate. Tally engines. They're all so accurate and so detailed, and Skarloey and Ernest, every little tube and every pipe and everything,
Yeah,
and
like
then Duncan looks like the fucking take along model with the white wheels. It's ridiculous.
he
And
sure
the red,
does.
the
He sure
completely the
does.
completely red running board. For some reason, take along had
They,
this
they did not
obsession
take
with
their
the
time.
red.
They didn't take their time.
I have a take along Duncan on my bookshelf. He's looking at me right now. He's such an accurate representation of season 18 Duncan, because take along you look at the take along models they did for Donald and Douglas or Emily or anyone. They all have these, or Diesel. Diesel's like you think of Diesel, you think of this, black, dark, sad engine. He's got this bright red running board that goes all the way around him, and Donald and Emily doesn't have a brown buffer. She has bright red buffers like everyone else. And Butch, the tow truck,
What did
has
they mean by this?
bright red buffers. It's just interesting because they fucking all had that, and I guess I don't know what they based. I have no idea. They must have found one image of Duncan on the wiki and just fucking based it off of that, or I don't know.
No, they found one image of Duncan on the wiki, but it wasn't even like the model. It was just like the take along.
It was that Japanese roller coaster of Duncan.
It was on his page, so we just rendered it because the wiki is a trustful site.
It's a very trustful.
Yeah.
Trustful's
You
trustful's
can
not a
trust the
word.
wiki to give all the best information.
Trustful's not a word, Jacob.
It should be.
You just made that up.
I'm sure that out of all the most incoherent things that people say on the wiki, like, come on, like, let's be real.
Yeah,
Even
the most
place.
incoherent thing I've ever seen on the wiki is looking through the trivia section on the Magic Reward page and going, the fly that is buzzing around Patch and Billy is also the same fly that was buzzing around James in the previous scene.
What the hell? What is that? What?
And they
How
added
do those
that.
two correlate?
They added that to the trivia. I mean,
on.
see, because here's the thing. I know how easy it is to edit a wiki page because I was so obsessed with the Thomas wiki and the Shining Time wiki and the Tugs wiki in like 2010, 2011, that era. I was so into earning points and getting badges and editing stuff. I was so proud of myself. I was the number one. I was the person who edited the most, the number one contributor to the Shining Time Station wiki. And then someone else outdid me. But it was like, I was like 10 years old. I was so into that shit. I can tell you how fucking easy it is to go into the trivia section
really
of
is.
an article and go, the fly that buzzed around James showed up at Billy's house. Wow.
And people are like sure, that works. Like they don't like listen. They don't say, hey, this sounds really incoherent and stupid.
And it's not even, some of them aren't even like really dumb things. Some of them are like pretty normal things, but they're phrased in the grammar, in the grammatical style.
It can
of
be
a
like past
5-year-old.
tense and future tense and like
Yeah, the tense.
both of them.
That's that. Okay, I swear to God, I try not to be a grammar Nazi with a lot of people. I really try not to because I don't know very many grammar terms. But
There
like,
should be an age limit on the wiki. You have to be
I
over
swear
15
to
to start
fucking
editing
God,
articles.
I hate, not just in the context of wiki or Thomas or online whatever. I fucking despise when people change tenses. There's like so many. There's a reviewer, animation look back. There's an animation YouTuber guy who's got a decent following on YouTube, and he talks about like the history of Walt Disney and Don Bluth and all these classic animators, and within the same sentence he changes whether it's past tense, present tense, future tense, and it's so like, it's not even the fact that the tense is wrong, it's that you keep switching between them. That's what pisses me off so much.
Yep. No, I've seen like I can't tell you how many, like, cause I was just promoted to like, what is it, like, image editor. It's something on the wiki just because like, yeah, I'm
What did
friends
you-
with Johnny, and
what
Johnny
did
N
you
is like
do?
the I didn't do anything. Like I barely use the wiki, but like I go on there sometimes to like put up images, like to like edit promos. Someone,
Oh yeah.
yeah, but no. So like I go on there like to edit promos and all that, and what we used to until they started switching to screen caps. But like I go on the wiki and it's just, there's so much incoherent like stuff on there. Oh my
Just
god.
changing aspect ratios and like the funniest thing is you go to like maybe they changed it, but last time, you go to like a season 6 episode and half of them are in 4:3 and half of them are in 16:9, and it's
Yep.
just
Why do they
because
do this?
the episodes were shot in widescreen and then had to be formatted into full screen into 4:3. But the wiki page people decided that only half of them would be high definition widescreen and half of them would be VHS quality or like
RSGCMA uploads.
fucking CD-ROM 5 pixels per image, UK whatever Michelangelo's bullshit. It just, oh my god, I was
You know why they
yeah.
do that? Because like what they'll do is like if they reuse a shot in season 6, right? Like they don't have multiples. Like if
They don't need to
they
have the pictures of, yeah, you just reproduce the same picture. It's fine.
yeah,
It's
no,
all
like
fine.
let's say in like what is it?
That episode,
A
no,
bad day
that
for Cranky or whatever. What is it? It's
yeah,
like
cranky
no
bugs
sleep for
stock
Cranky.
footage.
No, yeah, like in No Sleep for Cranky, like they use like the Cranky Bug stock footage. What they do
Yeah.
is they don't like if let's say it's in
You
widescreen,
don't
right?
you
Like
don't need you don't need a screen cap of what from widescreen cropped footage because season 5 was still shot in 4:3. So
so
like,
what they do is instead of just like screen capping like the season like the reuse season 5 stock footage in that episode, they just link the Cranky Bugs like images to that page. So then
yeah,
you have like the full screen Cranky Bugs and then like the widescreen No Sleep for Cranky, and it just I don't know.
it's very jarring.
It's weird.
But it is really funny talking about like just little things that you as a Thomas fan, someone who's interested in the models and the narrators and the history behind it all. Like I bought on eBay because I'm not, obviously not for the quality, certainly not for the quality, but I bought on VHS on eBay. It was like $2. I bought a James and the Red Balloon VHS because that's just a tape I never had on eBay. It was like $3, $4, whatever, and it came in the mail yesterday. And I was watching it with Zoe, my sister, my little sister, and I was pointing out all these little things. And oh look, you can see there's a wire hanging out of Donald there. And I was just telling her all about how season 6 is the last time that Alec Baldwin narrated because he was contractually obligated to do so, and it's the season where he just gave up. And I was just, with that context, she was on the floor laughing when it's, wow, Donnie, look, it's a flying basket with folks in it. Whatever will they dream up next? Said Douglas. And it's like the funniest shit. She was laughing, and I think I posted on Twitter about how she did an impression
The
of the season
Rusty.
6 Rusty, and
Yup,
she
I
just
saw
like
that.
stretched her face out. It was just really, it's really funny watching
She nailed it.
Thomas.
She hit the nail on the head. Like that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that
no,
was pretty. Yeah.
it's really funny watching Thomas with people who don't know all the little facts that we learn on
How
the
does
wiki
your
and whatever.
sister not know about Thomas since like that's
No,
all
she
you
she
do with your
learned.
life?
No, she learned that is not all I do with my life. It's just what I. It's the only thing I do with my life that
Look,
I
I've been
post
to your
about.
house. You are
You okay? You've been to my house because, like I said, my room that I share with my little sister is a set. So you got to decorate it with Thomas. If I ever tweet about something, it's gonna be about Thomas. That's what I project publicly.
Does-
But I'm into other
I
shit.
remember like when I'm not there, is it like it's like putting on a good face for the guests, but like when I'm not there, is it like better put away your trains? I'm trying to have like friends over.
Um, Well, I had friends over yesterday. I had a bunch of friends over, and it was just a bunch of people. People, you gotta understand. A lot of people like Turtles. Turtles has a completely, and it's really smart the way he does it. He has a completely separate identity online to his school stuff. He doesn't. No one at his school knows about his YouTube account, and that's really smart. But the thing that I've learned is that you're always worried and embarrassed about what people will think. I have just fifth, sixth, seventh grade, middle school, I was totally petrified of telling people about it. In most cases, they don't give a shit, or they just think it's like a weird little thing that you do. Because I had friends over at my house yesterday that had never been to my house, and they knew about my YouTube account. It wasn't like a big surprise, but they walk into my room, which is completely decorated head to toe with new and box items and tapes and autographed pictures of Miss Oliver and Blossom and whatever, and they didn't bat an eye. It was a normal conversation. It wasn't like a oh no, you're one of these freaks. It was just like it's just something
the
that Vinnie
first time I
has.
walked
Yeah.
into your room and I thought, oh no, he's one of these freaks, and so am I, because I'm the person who understands what all this stuff is. It's like oh my god, they didn't know. When I entered your room for the first time, I thought I was having a stroke.
You definitely did autograph my Duncan, my Ertl Duncan. You did
I
that.
sure did. That funny joke.
Very funny.
Welcome Stanley. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, well, you did send me a Thomas and Friends wood Stanley. So I'll have you know for Christmas you sent it to me. Also autographed. But the thing is, for anyone who watches my future videos or my future Twitter post or something, and they see that wooden Stanley or that wood Thomas and Friends wood Stanley on the
Vinnie
wall,
loves Thomas Wood. Vinnie is all about Thomas Wood, guys.
I'll have you know.
He absolutely loves it.
I did not, and neither did Jacob. Neither one of us contributed. We did not pay a cent to Mattel. We did not buy it from any store or an online shop that directly
I remember Vinnie said,
contributes.
Jacob, you must go to Toys R Us and spend $15 on this Thomas Wood Stanley. I said, sure, Vinnie. I love Thomas Wood. And he's like, me too.
That's definitely what happened. You're absolutely correct.
This is exactly what happened. He's like, Gee, Jacob, I love Thomas Wood so much. Thomas Wood is so great. There's nothing wrong with it.
All that classic TWR. It's like undetailed and like you can't see
Wooden
any
Roy was
wood.
never good. That's what he said.
Never, honestly,
It was
garbage.
No pinstriping on the original Thomas models. What were they thinking?
I don't know what they were thinking. It was fucking garbage.
What were they thinking, Roy Wilson?
I'll have you know that the original Atomic Man issue #1, you can look, but
what
you
the
can't
hell's wrong
touch.
with you, Roy Wilson? Why didn't you put lining on the 1992 Gordon? What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Yes, Thomas Wood is very good. I recommend you purchase it. Sponsored advertisement for Vinnie's
All right.
like wooden
I think
Thomas
this.
remake.
all right. I think this is a good place to wrap up this episode. And today we need to talk about our sponsors. So today's episode of the Grease Podcast is brought to you by NatureBox. NatureBox is the only nature box full of nature that you will get shipped to your door. Every 3 hours of every day, you will get a box.
I never
of
finished
nature.
talking about the
It's
Thomas
actually
models on
a
display. Come
pile.
on.
It's actually a pile of pine needles and deer shit that you will pay for that arrives at your doorstep every day. So
And you
please
can consume it.
Go to naturebox.com, type in the
And you
promo
can
code
eat it.
hashtag GAOP to get 15% off your first purchase. Thank you very much for my co-host here, Mr. MPS. Will be back in 2 episodes, I believe. 2 or 3 episodes. He'll be back.
Taking over for good.
Yeah, well, maybe. We'll see. But this is my... Is there anything that you would like to plug, Jacob? I know this episode's coming out about a month after we record it, but is there anything you'd like to plug?
Well, obviously, I'm going to plug my Twitter with my art and my memes. And before we wrap this up, it's actually... The whole reason that I'm actually friends with Vinnie is because I was, like, a shit poster and it's like a memer on, like, Robert's streams, and Vinnie was there. And then months, like just a few months later, I'm at his house. Like I'm at Vinnie's house, rolling with the big guns here. Like I started just from making memes, and now I'm up at the top, and here I am on the Grease Podcast. So,
and you're back. You're on the Grease Podcast, which means you're back at the bottom.
I'm back at the bottom.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode.
Follow my Twitter.
I hope it wasn't too incoherent. The quality is certainly
I never got to wrap up my point about the brass Thomas models.
It's fine. We got to wrap up this episode. Thank you for listening. And you're all gay, and you should all be ashamed of your sexualities.
You're very mean. Very bad. Makes me sad.